So the first question actually goes that do you recall when you heard like heavier rock/metal for the first time?
I think somebody like Ozzy Osbourne really in Black Sabbath was, he's a great singer. I mean, Paranoid. I heard that on radio. So I think Ozzy and Ian Gillan, maybe John Byron from Uriah Heep, they were all great singers. I first heard Ronnie James Dio a long time before he joined Rainbow on this thing called Butterfly Ball. I didn't start off as a singer. I started off as a bass player. And then I was singing and playing bass, and then I was singing. So I come from a different place than most singers do, if you know what I mean. I wasn't really interested in singing when I was like, I knew I could sing. I'd do backing vocals, but when I was like 16, 17, going through into 20, I was more interested in playing bass than singing.
So what made you pick up a bass?
Well, I was a guitarist, and I wasn't very good, so I picked up the bass instead. And I was able to sing and play bass easier than playing guitar and play and sing. So it was just a natural thing, really, to sing and play bass. But back in the day, I'd only been singing like blues music or some old Rolling Stones stuff, which was fairly basic bass playing. I wasn't doing like the Who, where the bass is really busy.
Yeah. So what made you become a vocalist then?
Because I was better than everybody else at the time. I was a better singer than the singer was in the band we had.
Okay.
So I sort of basically was forced to take on the mantle of being the lead singer rather than being the bass player, backing vocalist, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that I must have been around. I must have been around 1920 when I first started singing properly.
When you started singing, did you had like some big influences that you sort of first tried to copy and sing their songs, or did you jump like straight into writing your own music, or how did that happen for you?
Well, funnily enough, I wasn't really in any cover bands that did covers. The bands that I was in, luckily, we wrote our own music, although some of it was pretty bad back then. But we wrote our own music, so I think we did a couple of covers, but not much. I think we did something called Morning Dew by Jeff's band. But yeah, I mean, not a lot of covers. Paint It Black, maybe I think we did.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really copying anybody really, but I used to sing to myself a lot. I used to sing at work a lot because where I used to work was very loud, noisy textile mill, so I could like sing along to the machines like made a rhythm, and I would sing along to the rhythm of the machines. So I knew I could sing, and my first serious singing job would probably be in a band me and Paul Quinn were in called Coast. But again, I was playing bass, but I was the lead singer then. So yeah, I liked a lot of different singers, but Ian Gillan and early sort of Glenn Hughes in a band called Trapeze. He was great. So all these people, I don't think I tried to sing like any of them, but obviously they were influencing me subconsciously, I suppose. My voice is my voice. It's not really anybody else's voice. So I know it's a weird thing to say, but some singers do sound like other singers. It's obviously their main influence is this singer. So I'd try to do my own thing, if you know what I mean.
So what kind of like early memories do you have when it comes to singing? Were you like losing your voice when you were doing more of the like higher stuff in the early days? And did it take like a long time to figure out the right technique for it so that you wouldn't lose your voice?
Well, it took me about 40 years actually to learn how to do that without losing my voice. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I used to smoke and party a lot. So you lose your throat anyway. You
Yeah.
lose your voice anyway. You don't have to sing. You just have to stay up, 2 nights, 3 nights on a row and
Yeah.
get absolutely wrecked. And your voice is the first thing to go, really, and your legs, obviously. But no, I mean, I was interested in creating, what vibrato thing. My natural vibrato came out in that time. So when we did the first Saxon album, I was able to sort of sing in my own voice, really, that I'd developed on its own, I suppose. I didn't really try to develop a voice. It just came out, and that's one I used. It was great, actually, to hear myself being recorded properly.
So what kind of experience it was to record an album in a proper studio compared to being like in a rehearsal place where I guess you barely heard yourself in the early days, or most likely it was like that.
Well, in a proper studio, you didn't get to sing with the band. You got to sing on your own.
Yeah.
The band were in the headphones. So that was a big eye opener. I was singing really loud, and the producer would say, you don't have to sing that loud because there's no band. It's like, you can turn the band down or up. So I was singing everything really loud and screaming and long notes, and obviously I was smoking as well. So it was just a different experience really that I'd never had before. Because live's different to studio. Studio is much more, it's much more in your face. You're
Yeah.
much more enveloped with the sound. You have to try and focus that into a performance. Not everybody can do it, but it's quite hard. But your microphone is your friend. Your microphone actually is your audience when you're in a studio.
Yeah.
So you have to love the microphone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. So what kind of like early memories do you have when it comes to the first proper tours that you did? Were you ready as a vocalist to do like show after show after show, or what kind of like overall experience was it for you? Was it more like partying around and then trying to sing what you could, or what kind of experience it was?
There was a little bit of that going on. There was a little bit of a lot of partying going on after the shows. I think my voice back then was quite fragile, but we did do a lot of work. We did do a lot of tours. We did in 1979. We did the Motorhead tour, which was a long tour, our first tour. Then we did a Nazareth tour, which was another long tour. Then we went to Europe with Judas Priest in 1980. And that was a long tour as well. So I became really experienced quite quickly in 1980, really, 79, 1980. But it's not as easy as it looks to, play a show every night and come back the next day and do it again and do it again. And to sing it, try and sing it as good as you can sing it in a studio live. I mean, it's quite difficult. So yeah, I learned all the techniques for that, to pace yourself and to try and get the timbre in your voice that you get in the studio. That's a big thing live. Some people sound a bit different live than they do in the studio. So to get that, and you have to rely on. I mean, in the studio, you have to rely on the engineer to make it sound good.
Yeah.
Live, you have to rely on your front of house engineer to make you sound good as well. So, it really has to sound as natural as possible. That's the key. And we use a lot of, I use a lot of old analog equipment to achieve that. The microphone I use is an old German AKG C12 that's like 1940s, I think it's pre-war one.
Okay.
With Telefunken EQ, all massive piece of machinery, analog,
Yeah, for sure.
and everything that goes with the microphone. So I've used that microphone for 20 years.
Okay.
So it's a great microphone.
So when you started, did you had any kind of like warm-up routine? And do you have any kind of like warm-up routine nowadays, or do you just go up on stage and do your thing?
Now I go up on stage and do my thing. I've learned how to warm up on the first song.
Okay.
Just take it steady, sing it as great as you can, but just try and hold back the adrenaline, which is the adrenaline is the one that will get you going. So you have to try and control that surge of excitement when you first walk on stage. Just control your voice, really, the power of your voice. You have to try and control it. That's the secret, I think.
So are there like some specific foods or drinks that you have felt that they help you with the singing if you take them before the show, or on the opposite side, something that you don't want to take before the show that you have felt that they harm your vocal cords somehow?
I don't drink neat liquor,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of younger artists back in the day would drink, whiskey neat, which can burn your vocal cords. Obviously, smoking is not good, but I usually take, if I'm going to take anything, I'll have something what they call Vocal Zone. It's pretty good. There's a product called Vocal Zone. I usually have one of them before the show, maybe. I'll sometimes have a little glass of red wine. If the gig's a bit stressful, we're running on time, out of time or something, I'll have a little glass of wine. I don't drink on stage, though. I'll sometimes take this thing called Velo gel. It's like a little tablet that melts in your mouth, and it coats your vocal zone in sort of oil. So it's quite nice, actually. So you can Google them, and you singers want them. I mean, I have given them to various singers on tour. In fact, I turned the guy who sings for Diamond Head, I gave them to him because he sings very high all the time. So it can get a bit sore sometimes up there.
But with red wine, it's more about like relaxing before the show. You haven't
it's just
helped you,
relaxing. Yeah, social thing, Me and Doug will have a drink of wine sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes we'll just have. It's just a sip, sometimes. I mean, it's acidic, so it can get rid of phlegm sometimes. Wine off your vocal cords if you've got it.
So obviously you've released in your career a lot of albums with both Saxon and also you have done solo albums. So are there like some specific albums that you could pinpoint from your own discography where you have felt that you've taken like a big step forward as a vocalist?
I think the later albums, the sort of 90s albums are quite important for me vocally because, we came out of that 80s, not really writing what I thought particularly great songs on that Last Destiny album. I just thought the band were very tired, and we came back with an album called Solid Ball of Rock. And I think if you listen to Solid Ball of Rock and the one after that, Dogs of War, I think, Forever Free, I think you can hear my voice changing there slightly on those albums. And more open sound, because obviously I'd stopped smoking and I wasn't partying quite as hard. So I think my voice sort of matured a bit in that 90s period, definitely.
So was that also something like related to the album producers that they helped you somewhat to progress also?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just me focusing more on singing rather than just writing lyrics and singing them. I was concentrating more on singing, I think, and on those earlier, late 90s albums. Up to now, really. I think, Metalhead, Unleash the Beast, Doug's first album, 1996. There's some great playing and singing on those albums. And my voice opened up at that point. I think my voice has got better over the years, not worse.
Agreed.
My personal opinion,
Agreed.
I have more depth and range now. There's a lot more body in my voice, and there's a lot more higher registers as well.
Yeah, true. What about the solo album? Did that help you sort of like diverse your voice somehow? I guess you had like more free hand to do vocally what you wanted with the solo album than with Saxon.
I think I probably approached it the same, actually. I mean, I think the Heavy Water albums are probably different. The ones I do with my son,
Yeah.
Probably sing a little bit different on those albums because I'm singing with my son basically. So it's a lot of them are two-part harmonies, so
Yeah.
it's a different style.
So what about Hellfire and Damnation? Are there like vocally any new things that you tried which you haven't done before?
Well, I did. I was messing around with the keys actually, singing songs in different keys. Then the song "Hellfire and Damnation's" in concert pitch, in standard pitch. Generally, we everything we do is a semitone down, half a step down. Yeah. But when I was singing "Hellfire and Damnation," I don't. The thing is with singers, it's a bit like guitars, really. I suppose there's like a power band that you can sing very strong in. The key of the song determines where you are in your power band, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And for Hellfire and Damnation, it was a bit low for me. I couldn't really, my voice wasn't powerful enough. So we lifted it half a tone and it worked really well. Experimenting with different keys on this album. We changed the key of a few songs. So my voice is stronger in that key. And I think that's maybe something, people have to learn to do, really, singers, to find out where your song is the best. I watched an article with Sting, actually, talking about the same thing. He said the same thing, actually, that he tries songs in different keys to see how strong his vocal is, because you have to sing low and high. So it's quite a new thing I tried on Hellfire and Damnation.
Okay.
And it seemed to work fantastic.
But you haven't done it like before? Never?
Not really, no. I've never asked the guys to play the song in a different key before.
Okay.
We've always kept it to that semitone down or everything in concert pitch. But on this album, the songs are in different pitches.
So you can always learn new things as a vocalist, like they say.
You can always learn. Old dog can always learn new tricks. Don't believe the saying.
So there's a couple of questions left, and I wanted to know that what were actually like your parents' reactions when they heard you singing heavy metal for the first time? Do you remember?
Well, my mother never heard me because she died when I was like 12, I think.
Okay.
But my father came to some concerts in the 80s. He was really pleased. He liked it. He's quite excited. So, he'd never been to a concert before.
Okay.
Now, I don't think he was very musical, really. I think when he came back from the war, he was a broken man, I think. And, he wasn't really interested in that side of things, music and stuff. But he was a very happy guy, don't get me wrong. But, but he really liked it, that I was like doing something worthwhile and making a living. Still hadn't got a real job, but I was like, at least I was happy and making a living.
Yeah, for sure. As a closer, any kind of like advice that you would like to give to a young metal vocalist who's just about to start their journey? Anything that comes into your mind?
Yeah, try not to, if you're a vocalist that writes his own words, yeah, because obviously that's not always the case. But if you're writing lyrics, just make sure that the syllables that you're writing, the amount of syllables that you're using works in the melody that you're singing. And then you're able to, give it the full force, but try and phrase it naturally. Try not to phrase it like other singers phrase, if you know what I mean. Because some singers have certain phrases they use, like Ronnie James Dio would have some certain phrases that he used, some little licks that he used that was like uniquely Ronnie James Dio. If you sing those the same on your album, people go, "Oh, you sound like Ronnie James Dio," because that style, the little fills that he used are unique to him. So you have to try and stay away from them if you can. The little fills and techniques that singers have used before, and try and do something with your voice that is special for you. A lot of the singing for me is down to the fact that I write the lyrics and I'm telling stories. I'll spend a lot of time with lyrics, making sure that they sound great when you sing them. And sometimes it's all in the syllables, one syllable or two or three for the rhyme, you know. So it's not just about singing. It's about, you know, creating something special with the story that you're singing about, whether it be, you know, Kubla Khan or whether it be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's still the same. You know, you have to create that thing that stands you aside from other singers. I know it's difficult. I know I'm making it sound easy, but just when you're singing lyrics, just lyrics are very important. But you have to get the right, you know, you have to feel the right thing on the lyrics that you're singing. They go together. Singing and lyrics go together. And that's the important thing, I think. Even if you're singing somebody else's lyrics, try and make it your own, you know.
I guess that's the part what is quite time consuming, I would imagine at least.
Yeah, but if you're writing, you know, it's like on the new album, there's a song called 1066, and I'm basically telling a historic story, yeah?
Yeah.
So dynamically, there's parts where you have to be really powerful, and there's other parts of the song where you can be a bit lighter. There's parts of the song that got 2-part harmony, you know, so you have to sing the second part of the song because you know there's a harmony going on it. So there's no point screaming your head off on that part because there's a harmony going to go on in an hour or so. So, you know, pre-plan what's coming and sing it, you know, just let it go. Sing your heart out. You know what I mean? I do 3 run-throughs and then we pick the best. We pick the best.
And that's been like that for you, like always.
That's what I do, yeah. Sometimes I don't get it in 3, but yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll do 3 songs all the way through, and then we'll pick the best. Sometimes we'll pick, you know, the third version and put it to the first version. But more or less, it's 3 versions we sing.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to do this with me, and all the best for the release of the album. Anything you want to say to the Finnish fans?
Yeah, great. Well, I mean, we know we love Finland. It's one of those places that's special, obviously, and hopefully we'll get there this year. That would be great to play our new album, Hellfire and Damnation, for everybody. That'd be cool.
I hope so too.
Yeah, me too. See you later, yeah?
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time.